The Jeli tradition is widely cited as the precursor to modern hip-hop and spoken word poetry. Modern rappers are sometimes referred to as postmodern Djelis for their role as social commentators. Jeli tradition is widely cited as the precursor to modern hip-hop and spoken word poetry. Modern rappers are sometimes referred to as postmodern Djelis for their role as social commentators.
Cause it's fleeting, cause this just feels like yesterday. This just feels like yesterday. Oh, this just feels like yesterday. Oh, this just feels like yesterday.
Good morning, good morning. Hey, it's the motivator here. This is where we translate our words into action and where success is ours for the taking. It's yours for the taking. How you feeling, people? How you feeling? But I'm feeling fantastic. It's the motivator here. I've had one of those wonderful, truly inspiring few days between podcasts. And I am assuring you, I've encountered human beings right across the political, ethnic, and religious divides who are just truly inspirational. Oh, I feel so good. How are you feeling with this episode of The Motivator Show? I'm assuring you will truly inspire you. Okay. And if you're feeling down, you'll be up. Okay. If you're uncertain, you will be certain by the end of this podcast. Yeah. And if you want direction, we will provide direction. Oh, yeah. In approximately, what's the time? Here we go. In approximately 40 minutes' time, we're going to have that keynote interview with a life true life jelly, and I'll explain what that means later on. But truly, it's a term of more than simply endearment. It is actually a term that denotes a fundamental pillar of all African civilizations. Okay. How to communicate history, culture, traditions, genealogy, family line, social trends, mhm, anecdotal evidence in a way that the masses can understand. But more importantly, Djelis were the custodians of morality, expressing in manners that we all could comprehend. Oh, yeah, this will truly be yet another inspirational podcast. But between now and then, I've got a lot to pack in, as you know, because we are very much a social conscience channel. We take up those issues that others simply shy away from or choose not to think about, choose not to consider. Mhm. Here on the Motivated Show, without fear or less, we will take on those issues, particularly those that are really at the core of who we are as human beings. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, without further ado, let me get right into this because this is going to be fantastic. First of all, I want to thank past contributors, maybe one or two of those past contributors. And I think it's really important to remind you that despite the fact, we're at the end of February, it is true. Yeah, it is true. We've had remarkable human beings come into the Motivator Show who've really been truly fulfilling. Ordinary people engage in extraordinary work. It could be you. And it most probably is you, but you're not fully aware, not fully actualize the greatness of your current work. If you earn £10 and are given £2 of that £10 to charity, you are an extraordinary person. Yes, because as a percentage of your total income, you're giving what you believe you can, but proportionately, is far greater than someone who's a billionaire given £1 million. Just consider it. Many zeros, difference. It goes to the core of who you are as a human being and recognizing we work together, human beings, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of a religious affiliation or social class, yeah, or gender. Working together as human beings has always been the foundations of successful civilizations. Because in doing so, we're able to help those in greatest need. So they're in a position to help you one day, or indeed to help them to contribute meaningfully to your communities, your village, your towns, your cities, your countries, yeah, your nations, indeed. And that's how we are able to utilize the many talents, unsung talents we all possess. That's how you enrich civilization. So it's a place that we all want to occupy, a place that we all enjoy. We all therefore accumulate positive, happy memories. Would you not want that for yourself, for your loved ones, your wife, your husband, your sons, your daughters, your nieces and nephews, your cousins, your wider communities? Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I know you are not powerless. Say again, no, you are not powerless. I'm going to emphasize it. You are not powerless. In unity is strength. In unity is strength. Work together. Mhm. In unity is strength. So, how do we move forward? Here at the Motivator Show, what we seek to do is to demonstrate for each of you here examples of people, just ordinary people, engage in extraordinary work. They don't realize it. Okay. Let me turn to a more recent contributor. His name is Dr. Carlton Brown. A man dedicated his life to uphold raising the economic standing of peoples here in Britain, particularly peoples of African heritage from the continent or the Caribbean. He's dedicated his life. He's responsible for the Black Entrepreneurs Conference, which occurs in every June of each year. Okay, he's organising. He does every year the Black Entrepreneurs Masterclass. Details will be available soon. We gave him a platform to review his more recent works, of course. That's a Black Entrepreneurial Report in 2001, okay, in which he highlights and crystallizes in using words that we could all understand the economic realities of living here in Britain. And how institutions and corporations and companies and communities can mend what is broken. Mhm. We also highlighted the opportunities are here and help those who are so minded, so motivated, as it were, to strive, to achieve their personal goals, their family's goals. Okay. If they want to create financial independence, if they've got the natural inclination to be able to lead people with wisdom and morality. Mhm. Oh, yes, Dr. Carlton Brown. And if you haven't watched that, the Black Entrepreneurs Report 2001, yeah, the race paradox, as he postulates it in his work, I think it's important for you to contact him. Okay? Details of how you can contact him will appear on screen shortly. But Dr. Carlton Brown, honor and respect to you. Long may you keep up your outstanding work. We're all rooting for you. We're all behind you. Continue those outstanding works. Well done. Well done. I also, of course, want to note another one of my contributors. And as I said, we've had so many, but in yet a short period of time. I want to remind you of another outstanding human being. His name is Sipiri Blaka. Mhm. An inspired person, truly inspired. Okay. And what we sought here to do, and just to be clear, Africa is rising through spiritual leadership and integrity. Mhm. And his contribution to the Motivator Show highlighted the depth of thinking, the ability of individuals coming together in common aim and common purpose to truly inspire and to harness the energy for change. Mhm. What he demonstrated was a social and economic maturity. The rest of the world recognizes that as the decades proceed, the economic revolution occurring in Africa will continue with a total focus and certainty. Well done, Superi. Well done. Well done. We are going to come back to you. Be assured. We are coming back to you. There's much more in your conscious chest. I was about to say war chest, conscious chest that we want to discuss so we can release it so the masses can take full advantage of it. Oh, yeah. Thumbs up to him. Thumbs up to him. I also want to give light to yet another one of my guests. This now refers to a country we call Nigeria. Mhm. I want to give praise and respect to the wife of the indigenous people of Biafra's organization's leader, Mazi Namdi Kanu. He was illegally captured from one country by the Nigerian federal government and illegally transported to Nigeria and went through what a term that is generally recognized, a kangaroo court, a court not of his peers, a court in of which the moment he entered it, the outcome was preordained. That was not justice. That was not justice. And any Nigerian who claims that what the Nigerian government did was in any way justifiable, well, the 47th in that country across the pond, okay, engaged in similar behavior. Mhm. And we all know where that 47th president should be right now. Mhm. I believe The Hague is the word. But when leaders behave in such manners and they get away with it, they set dangerous precedents. Would you do the same for the leader of China? Would you do the same for the leader of India? Would you do the same for the leader of Russia? To do so, I would suspect, mhm, would indeed create a serious response. So I want to give praise to his wife, who appeared here on the Motivator Show. She is truly an inspired human being, dedicated, incredibly loving, okay, with children, yeah, remarkably intelligent, astute. Mhm. She displays the qualities that, whether you be male or female, are truly admirable. She was so open with her feelings. As you observe that interview, experience that interview had with her, that she understood the injustice and wanted to be a part of that change. We know that Nigeria is not Nigeria. At some point, those who call themselves Nigerian will take control and give themselves a name that is truly African name. Huh? How about that? That the entire continent boundaries, so-called international boundaries, will be redrawn to reflect African values, true African traditional boundaries. Mhm. Indeed, the people of Igbo land, Biafra, or indeed the Yoruba kingdom, will at least have their pride returned. Mhm. That they can have autonomy and therefore stand up stand up alongside the nations across the continent of Africa with pride and dignity. You can't do this now. It's not possible. Not until you Sankofa go back and fetch that what was taken from you. Mhm. And you continued on the path of true reparations, which begins with self repair. In other words, it's within your uh, power to change. That's what reparations means. Mhm. To mend that was broken. But the first stage is self. We is self. I'm confident, based upon the trajectory I see across the continent, that that process is well underway. Self reflection, self actualization will require those fundamental changes in structures that were created by others and not by people. How can pride be returned to the peoples unless the peoples take control of the land? and the wealth of that land, the economics of that land. And that the religions that pervade the lands reflect the people of the land. Big thumbs up to the people of Ethiopia. I know you've just had your new year. Yeah, big thumbs up to them. I want to give a special thanks to members of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tahido Church for being custodian of the only true Bible. 88 books, untainted books. Mhm. And the traditions that flow from those books. Oh yes, oh yes. I want to give pride and respect to the people of Ethiopia. And did you watch that episode? The Battle of Adwa. Uh-huh. We're going to learn about another battle here on this episode of The Motivator Show from my special guest in about 20, 22 minutes, 25 minutes. Mhm. We could learn a great deal today. So thank you for those guests I've mentioned. There are others, of course. I'll mention you in other episodes. Don't you worry. But thank you, a special thank you to the wife of Mansi Nnamdi Kanu, Lulu Ukechi Ikucho Kanu. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stay strong, ma'am. Stay strong. Whew, thank you. Whew. I assure you that it was truly an emotional, truly heart enthralling interview with that woman. She was a quite remarkable person. Quite remarkable. Anyway, let me move on. This point in the Motivator Show, what we now like to do is move to lifestyle messages. Lifestyle messages are part of the show that has happened because of far too many members of the communities die before their time. They're dying before their time. Far too many members of the communities are being weighed down by conditions that are actually avoidable if you take certain steps, common sense steps, as will be alluded to in a moment. But these steps are just common sense advice. And you listen to the expert, listen to those who've dedicated their lives to saving lives, propagating long, healthy lives. If you listen to them, they're the persons who provided us with the information that we need to think about our lifestyle and its impact on our health. So we can reduce the numbers of people who are weighed down by diabetes. Here in Britain, Europe, the Americas, and the Caribbean, and increasingly in the continent of Africa. Mm. I say these are just the initial thoughts. Mhm. It's directly related to our lifestyle, what we do, both in terms of our physical health and what we ingest. Mhm. In the Caribbean, in Jamaica, there still remains an insignificant number of that population weighed down by diabetes. Mhm. High blood pressure, hypertension. Yeah. Another condition that pervades the community, way above international averages across the communities I've just mentioned. Obesity or fatness, if you like, yeah. Again, off the scale, and particularly, and my heart lament when I say this, particularly among African heritage women, both here in Britain, the Caribbean, the Americas, most certainly, and parts of Africa. Hmm? Women's weight are ballooning. You see them walking around. Ah, the net effect is to place undue strain on our bodies. Yeah, yeah. Cancers and respiratory conditions, many are avoidable. But just really following some common sense advice. At this point, I take a deep breath. I take a deep breath. And that's why we include this segment in each of our live episodes of The Motivator Show. I know it's not always popular, but I want to thank you, the hundreds, indeed, forgive me, the thousands of you who have sent messages in acknowledging the lifestyle messages and have understood and appreciate their importance. And if you want to acknowledge why we include lifestyle messages, why not send us a message? That's absolutely fine. Let me put it on the screen for you. Here we go, on the screen. Write a message to us. Here we go. The Motivator Show 501 at gmail.com. I repeat, The Motivator Show 501 at gmail.com. We read every one of your messages and we reply to every one of your messages. We welcome your feedback. We understand its importance and we appreciate the fact that you've heard those messages and responded positively. And those of you who are coy or want to shut down at this point, we understand you. We're not going to criticize you. We understand. But honestly, hold the hand of someone you believe is strong so you can feel their strength. And eventually, their strength becomes your strength. Seek the advice of someone who is wise, and their wisdom eventually will become your wisdom. And in doing so, in unity is strength. That's what we mean. That is what we mean by that phrase. I want you to listen to the words of a man who's devoted his entire life to helping people, using medicine and public health as his tool. And in doing so, he is responsible for saving tens of thousands of people's lives without realizing it. Tens of thousands of people's lives. Because here on The Motivator, we continue to magnify his words. Again, thank you for those of you who have heard these words and responded with positivism, with guile and grit. I know many didn't want to and were terrified, but they're more terrified of the consequence of not listening to these words. Listen to what he has to say on this subject. And his name will become apparent to you. Okay, let me put up on the screen for you. His name will become apparent to you. But if in doubt, ask questions. Listen to his wise man's words.
Professor Kevin Fenton says, I'm a public health director. Here are 5 things you can do to improve your health. 1. Mindful and balanced eating. Nourish wisely. Eat whole, balanced meals with awareness to support energy and well-being. 2. Get outside. Be with nature. Time outside reduces stress, improves mood, and strengthens your connection to the world. 3. Stay curious, stay engaged, explore new interests, keep your mind sharp, build social contacts, and boost your happiness. 4. Get active, move it or lose it. Move daily, lift weight, and do cardio. Exercise, improve physical, mental, mood, and energy. 5. Prioritize rest and sleep. Disconnect, rest. Quality sleep supports mental clarity, emotional balance, and overall health.
Did you hear those words? Words of the professor. That is common sense advice. Trust me, I listen to those words every day and I seek actively. I'm not always successful. Come on, I'm only human. Okay. Yes, it's true. I'm only human. But I recite those words every day so they can be actualized as part of my consciousness, a part of my subconscious behavior. And in doing so, I know I'm upholding a healthy lifestyle that is most probably going to continue to support my life as I live longer and longer. And in doing so, I spread the word to others in my family, my network, and beyond. But again, in doing so, uphold the basis of civilization, that we are all our brothers and sisters keepers. Don't say otherwise. Don't let those individualists who just do everything for themselves and let us all die. That's wrong. We are all but one family. We're but one human family. So what I'm heartened by is a number of you who've heard these words and have responded, have come together in common aim and common purpose. Understand, working together in unity and strength, working together, you're more than likely to have sustained growth. You can, of course, be an individual, a high flyer, who runs very quickly, and you achieve your goal, yep, all by yourself, all very nice. That is not a civilization. It's only when we come together, hold each other's hand, hold each other's close, and we run together in common aim and common purpose, it's only then that we have sustained growth, meaningful growth that goes beyond you. It goes to the next woman, to the next man, to the next girl, to the next boy, to the next uncle, to the next auntie. Yes? That's how it works, because we are but one family. And in doing so, you uphold why we are here on this planet. We're here to do better for ourselves, do better for others as well. So I want to give you an example of people who've come together in common aim and common purpose, pull their resources that they now exercise together. And what I'm really proud is that this has been one example of many who have multiplied since we consistently, for the past 5 years, have shared these messages with you. People come together, common aim, common purpose, understanding. If we work together, we will grow together. And together we will transform the world. I want you now to observe these people. Now, they could be exercising. What we don't want you to do is to sit there and watch. Even if you just stretch your feet, stand up, move your arms, okay? That will make all the difference. Watch this. It's only 3 minutes. They're exercising together. I know you might be sitting there. Don't just sit there. Let's do this together. Just for a few minutes. It could make all the difference. Yes. That's it. Bend your legs. Come on. I'm bending my legs. I'm bending my legs. That's it. Oh. You can see them there. Big and they're small. They're wide and they're thin. They come together. Common aim. Common purpose. There you are. That's it. Same here. Can you do this? Come on now. Join me. That's right. Oh, hold on his shoulder. Put his arm. Put your arms up. Put it down. Up and down. Up and down. You hear and what you can. Nice and steady exercise. That's right. This will make all the difference. Do this regularly. Make all the difference. That's right. You see them? You come together, common aim, with common purpose. You're sweating. That's right. There you are. Oh. That's right. There you go. Oh, she's sweating and they're all smiling at us. There you are. That's right. That's that positive feedback. Yeah, you feel that positive feedback. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. There you are. Oh, I can feel my muscles this way. Right. That's it. Make all the difference. That's right, people. Oh, I see their children there as well. Do you see their children? Oh my dear, look at those. The little ones. They're just watching mum and dad exercise together. So take those examples with them into their adulthood. All they need is just a and eventually their body these are good habits for a child to develop. So take those habits into their adulthood. Look, if you're overweight, it doesn't matter. Exercise is good. done, Ishmael. That's it. There you are. And together we are making the difference. Okay. I'm going to pause there on that one. I'm going to pause there. And I hope you'll agree. That's a perfect example. Coming together, common aim and common purpose, understanding, working together, exercise together in this case. Okay. It's the best way forward. You can do it by yourself, do it alone. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah. Loners are they're to a penny. But coming together, common aim and common purpose, exercise together in meaningful ways will make a difference. I'm not the expert, but you heard the words of the professor. Mhm. Heard the words of the professor. I'm not the expert. His words are pretty exercise, being out there in nature is positive. It can only help your general health and well-being. And if in doubt, please ask questions. Don't accept all what I say. I want you to question it. Every word I utter, question it, because that's what I do. I question everything so I can better understand the significance of the words. Look, if you're in South London, here I'm based in London, London, England, and if you're in South London and you want a place to exercise with just people, just loving people who not judge, who just say, come and help, come, join us. They're there on every Monday and Wednesday. That's when they're there, every Monday and Wednesday. Let me put details on the screen for you. Yep, yeah, I do this. Yep, every Monday and Wednesday between 6:30 and 8 p.m. They're based at 12 Tatum Street, Tatum Street. That's London. S for sugar, E17 1TN. There you are. And if you want to reach out to them by email, it's countdown0405 at gmail.com. Their telephone number, if you're here in the UK, it's 07960 803 588. I commend the work of people who've come together in common aim and common purpose, understanding working together in promoting our health is the highest calling. Well done to every one of you. Every one of you. Again, positive feedback. I say again, hundreds of groups similar to this now. It's springing up right across Britain. I know in Europe and indeed many parts of the Caribbean, particularly in Jamaica. Well done, every one of you, to taking that step. Taking that step. It will make a difference. Maintaining reasonable physical health, physical fitness can only enhance your general health and well-being. But if in doubt, please consult your doctor, whoever is your clinician. Seek that person out, and they will provide you with the personalized advice for you based upon your clinical profile. Well done, well done, well done. Before we go to the main interview, but I can assure you will be in 7 minutes' time, I need to turn to a subject that's close to my heart, and you will understand when I express this one. Okay. In fact, two subjects very quickly. One is FGM, female genital mutilation. Hmm? It still pervades, particularly the African communities. Mhm. I'm aware that more than 230 million women are FGM survivors. Some don't even fully realize that fact. But if they were brutalized as babies, oh, yeah, as babies, but still far too many of them were brutalized, mutilated when they're fully conscious, you know? And they know better. They know intuitively this is wrong, but are experiencing social pressures to comply. It is truly heartbreaking. I've spoken to quite a number of women, mature women, who are indeed FGM survivors. And their account of its impact on their lives is truly heart wrenching. But they feel able to tell me, someone who's outside of that practice, mhm, but not able to say that to their husband, to their brothers, to their fathers, to the men in their communities, because the social pressure is still quite intense. Here on the Motivator Show, as you would expect, this is an issue that we absolutely will take up. It's not been discussed here in social media very often. regulates the intervention and the motivation can be one of the factors that we should seek actively to eradicate. The study to do so we can find too many women, far too many women. I personally want to speak to the men. Women, we've got. I want to speak to the men. The men who would suggest that this practice in some way enhances love from their wives, enhances their intimate relations, enhances the quality of the babies that they eventually have, enhances the relationship between man and woman. I want to speak to those men who would wish to propagate those ideas. Each time I believe I've identified some men who are prepared to talk to me. Do you know what happens? They shy away. I can only conclude because there is awareness. There is some awareness amongst those men that this practice may need to be called into question. Nevertheless, here in Britain, there's a woman, an extraordinary human being. Her name is Councillor Naima Ali. She's the leader and founder of Unshackled Duma. Okay. Let me explain the role of Unshackled Duma to you all. Unshackled Duma is a London based organization that empowers women and girls, particularly from Black, Asian, and so called ethnic and Muslim communities. The organization focuses on promoting self empowerment, autonomy, and advocacy, with a strong emphasis on combating female genital mutilation, FGM. It raises awareness about FGM's harmful effects and supports survivors and works towards eradicating the practice. If you wish to reach out to her, the email address to use is unshackledduma, followed by digit 2 at gmail.com. Please reach out to her. Reach out to man or woman. Reach out to her. And together we can all make the difference. Let this practice of FGM be on the scrap heap of history. Let us no longer mutilate women in this most intimate way. Let it no longer be a feature of our practice. And let those women for whom have experienced this, please speak out. I know the social pressure is intense. I get it. I get it. I get it. Speak out. But I particularly want to speak to the men, those courageous men who are prepared to come here on the Motivators Show and, and discuss what they've learned that may have happened to their mother or indeed their sisters, yeah, their nieces, yeah, and have understood the implications for their lives. Those men is who I want to speak to. I say again, please reach out to us. And if in doubt, please come speak to us. Here's our email address, the Motivator Show 501 at gmail.com. We're going to keep repeating these messages because we know this dam will break. And I know when it breaks, the outpouring of the horror, pain, the anguish will be, well, I know, with many decades, generations in the coming. This dam will break. This dam of silence will break. Anyway, right, okay. The last issue before we go to this keynote interview, inspiring interview with the Jeli, the custodian of our culture, our traditions, our genealogy, our family lineage. Before that, they want one more issue. Permit us. This is the Motivator Show after all. Climate change is real. Man-induced rapid climate change is real. Man-induced or human-induced indeed. Mhm. where you see a rapid warming of the planet. Here in London, where I'm based, we've not seen not even 1 inch of snow. Not 1 inch of snow. 30 years ago, we would have had 6 to 8 inches of snow on the ground here in London. We have not seen 1 inch. In fact, I personally have not seen any snow. We've seen some light sleet, and the temperatures have dropped, most certainly, but not sufficient for snow to fall here in London. For some people, they say, "Oh, that's great," but it's a danger because last year, like the year before that, and the year before that, were the record temperatures across the world. The world is experiencing rapid heating up. Give it another 100 years on this trajectory. You think it's warm and comfortable here in London now? 100 years' time, it could very well be catastrophic. Because we're not that far from the Arctic, where all this ice is. What's happening? At the Arctic and the Antarctic, the the temperatures are warming up even to a greater degree than it's happening here in this latitude where London sits. It is danger, danger, danger. And it's manifesting itself in many ways. One way I can tell you, and we spend no more than 3 minutes on this, that's of course in rapid change in the temperature, warming up of the ocean, stimulating violent storms. It is in the hemisphere in which the Caribbean resides, they're called hurricanes. In the other hemisphere, they're called tornadoes. Yep. But here, the hurricanes have intensified and their frequency is increased. That case is a concern, but the intensity is an even greater concern. The Caribbean over the past 2 to 3 years has experienced record damage by hurricanes. The most recent one was called Melissa. The one before that was called Beryl. Okay. Melissa, 185 miles an hour winds. Can you imagine 185 miles an hour winds? That's more than 200 kilometers. Can you imagine per hour winds? The intensity of those winds are terrifying, deathly winds. And the trajectory is that this will increase both in frequency and intensity. So places like Jamaica, which has emitted 0.00001%, in other words, a minute of 1% of atmospheric warming gases, such as carbon dioxide, yeah, carbon monoxide, cars, yes, from those cars, yeah, dioxide, yeah, into the atmosphere. And what is happening? Those gases are creating a blanket over the planet. So light's getting in, but the heat is not getting out. And the resultant is the atmosphere is warming. The water is absorbing the heat, further intensifies the storms. Hurricane Melissa has devastated whole swathes of Jamaica. So for the past few sessions here, the live transmission, we have been playing a record of just one public building, a public building that serves the needs of babies, the little ones, the most vulnerable members of our communities. The school was devastated, the roof was taken off. Members of the community have been trying to put it back together again, but they need our help. I want you to listen to the words of the principal of a they call a basic school, a school meant for babies, little ones. They're about 18 inches tall, about 45 centimeters or not more tall. Yeah, babies, little ones, the most vulnerable people in the planet. And she's appealing to us all to support the rebuilding of that school. So it's build back better. Build back better. Listen to the words of this core principle. And if your heart is not moved, okay, listen to her.
PNP UK Hurricane Melissa Disaster Relief Fund appeal for a better Jamaica.
Good morning, students. Say good morning, parents. Good morning, students. Today is what month are we in?
We are in the month of January.
Everyone, I am Lexia Lewis Hines, principal of the New Building Early Childhood Institution in New Building, Nain, St. Elizabeth. We were adversely affected by the passing of Hurricane Melissa on October 28, 2025. And as such, we lost our school roof, we have lost furniture, books, and other learning materials for our young ones. I am hereby making a plea asking for any contribution that can be given to assist us in further renovating our school building so that our students can return to some semblance of normalcy. We have already received some donations and we're able to cover half the roof. The other half is patched up with the old zinc that was there from before. And as such, any contribution is an investment in our young ones, the future generation. And so this is my plea, asking for any contribution that can be given in assisting us to be better able to facilitate our young students. Thank you so very much.
New Building Early Childhood School, New Buildings District, Nain, St. Elizabeth, Jamaica.
January is 21 days old.
On behalf of PNP UK, we hope you would agree that this school needs to be rebuilt so that the children can enjoy the teaching and learning experience. Support the Hurricane Melissa Disaster Relief Fund to build back better the school. Send your donation, whatever you can afford, to PNP UK. That's at NatWest Bank, sort code 600802, account number 298612333. And in the bank reference, please quote DRF Melissa. Thank you for considering. Thank you for your donations.
I think you would agree that is a worthy cause. And we anticipate that members of PNP UK will come back here in the Motivator Show to give us an update on progress made to date. But I'm immensely proud, immensely pleased at you, the audience, who have responded. Oh, we can only hope that when you see the school and it's built back, you can see the progress made and how the children and the families respond to that. I know you would agree that this has been a worthwhile venture. Working together, we can and we will transform the world. There's much I could say about what you've just seen, but it is, personally, I find it abominable that this situation exists. But we as a communities, many communities, you don't have to be from the Caribbean, if I may say so. Okay, you just got to have a heart. Got to be conscious of the impact that climate change is having on islands such as Jamaica and the Caribbean and other places, of course, across the world. We can put the details back up on the screen. There you are. If in doubt, please. So it's NatWest Bank at 600802 sort code and the account number 298612333. 8233. Please replay this recording, and thank you in advance for your contribution. Thank you. Full accountability for every penny will happen. And I remind people, I just want to say this again, this is going directly to an organization of which a penny, every pound, every cent, every dollar, if you like, will be used for the purpose intended. There will be no administration fee taken off. Every penny, every pound, every cent, every dollar will be used. Go through these other agencies, they take off a slice for admin. That will not happen here. These are totally dedicated to the cause. The higher calling is that we give our time to those in greatest need. I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. If in doubt, ask questions. If in doubt, ask questions. All righty. What I want to do now is to move forward. I want to move forward to our keynote interview with a remarkable human being. Please sit down. You've got a pen and paper or your digital iPad or mechanism. Take notes. There's a great deal of information shared today, information that will enhance, raise awareness, raise consciousness, because she's truly a Jeli. Jelis are those who are the custodians of culture, traditions, history, genealogy, yeah? People you go to arbitrate because they're neutral. People bring peace and promote prosperity for all, not just for some. Oh yeah, there's much I could say. But without further ado, I say to you, if in doubt, ask questions. But many of your questions will be answered in this interview. Are you ready? Yeah.
Orokin, Jeli, Golo, Griot, Goel, storytellers, the power of their voice. Eniagu Storytelling Festival. We inspire vision with the oral tradition. On the 23rd to 28th of July 2026. Website www.shanti-chi.com. You are all most welcome. You are all most welcome. You are all most welcome.
Primary roles of a Jeli. Living archives. In many communities where literacy was not historically widespread, Jelis served as the primary keepers of oral tradition. They memorize and recite complex genealogies, historical events, and epic narratives like the Epic of Samdiata. Social and political advisors. Historically, Jelis were attached to royal families as trusted confidants and chroniclers, advising rulers on governance based on historical precedents, mediators and peacemakers, because of their neutral status and deep familiarity with all parties. Jelis are often called upon to settle disputes between families or even warring factions. Musicians, their storytelling is almost always accompanied by traditional instruments, most notably the kora, a 21-string harp lute, the balafon xylophone, or the ngoni lute.
Cultural significance. Jeli's hereditary profession. Being a Jeli is an endogamous class, meaning the title and specialized knowledge are inherited. Training often begins in early childhood and requires decades of rigorous study under an elder relative. There is a famous African proverb that states, "When a Jeli dies, it is as if a library has burnt down," highlighting their vital role as the memory of their people. The Jeli tradition is widely cited as a precursor to modern hip-hop and spoken word poetry. Modern rappers are sometimes referred to as postmodern Djelis, for their role as social commentators.
It's the motivator here. This is where we translate our words into action and where success is ours for the taking. Hey, you gotta believe it, people. You gotta believe it. We've got another inspirational podcast, and today we have yet another inspired African woman. A woman of incredible intelligence. A woman with deep, deep compassion. A woman who is a custodian of culture and history. A woman who's a natural nurturer, but one able to be a hard, focused human being. A woman that I have learned to respect. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to find out a great deal about her in a few moments, because today's podcast, we're going to better understand the African oral tradition and the peoples who are the custodian of our culture, our traditions, our history. People can tell you about your family line, the highlight, not so good highlight. Yeah. A person able to capture your imagination using your history, our history, as the reference point. Someone who will inspire you and be a catalyst for you to make a change in your life. Understanding what we need to do, what you need to do to continue to enhance your life. I have before us a true Jeli, and we're going to discover what that word actually means and the variation on that word in a moment. But I'm going to ask her, please, to introduce yourself. Say your name, organization, and you may want to add a few minutes about yourself, who you are as a person. Please, over to you, my honored guest.
Give thanks and praises for this day, for the beauty in truth and the truth in beauty. Give thanks to the ancestors and the divine creators. Give thanks to all the spirit, nature spirits that are here, that surround us, that protect us, that guide us. I pour libation in your honor. I give thanks to you, Councillor Martin, for having me here and for being so patient when we think about our last gathering. And so I thank you. My name is Jeli Chinyere. A Jeli is a title, and it means the teller of tales, the bringer of messages, the guardian of culture, the keeper of mysteries, and the holder of sacred space. Now, with that in mind, Chinyere is my Igbo name from my Igbo family, my mother's village, and it means a gift from the divine. I take what I do seriously. I've set up a company called shanty-chi.com, which is a storytelling company, and I am the founder and artistic director. And our remit is to promote, preserve, celebrate, and elevate the oral traditions of our storytelling. And with that in mind, I've created the only African storytelling festival run by us, for us, exclusively. And it's called the In Their Argle Storytelling Festival. The Storytelling Festival has been running for 17 years. It's a safe, sacred space where we can develop our gifts, share our gifts, and receive the gifts of others. That's the using the oral traditions of storytelling, drumming, well-being, and all the well-being practitioners, yoga, tai chi, how to write a story, how to tell a story, how to use storytelling to bring forth your visions. All of those ancient arts, herbalism, we bring to the In Their Argle Storytelling Festival. We set it up like it's a village, and we really learn how just to be together for those 6 days. And it's marvelous.
Just ask you a question there, because this is inspiring, because one of the issues that constantly reoccur is how to tell our history, how to express our culture and tradition. Okay, and you, therefore, have stated you Jeli, is, of course, to express that. So we learn from you. You're a teacher, in other words. You're a teacher. Okay. You talked about, I mentioned your Igbo origins. Would this be true for the Yoruba people and other peoples across West Africa, let's say, or is it unique to the Igbo people?
What do you mean, the Jeli?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, no, Jeli in Igbo land is spelled Djeli, but you'll see other spellings. You'll see Djali, you'll see Jali, and Jeli. And that comes all across West Africa that I've seen. So once upon myself, a griot, because if you type in griot, you will get the impression that a griot and a Jeli are the same thing, but they're different. So the Djelis of ancient times, who come from West Africa, who are the custodians of culture, who are very highly talented, as well as being creative, they're scientists. They're the ones that look at the moon. They hold all the stories of the village and of the families, individual families within the village. So of course they're gold. So when the enslavers came along, they're priceless. They took them and brought them and put them in the enslaver's house, because the etymology of the word griot means one who lives in the master's house.
Oh.
So that is what got me to start researching. Some young poet named Nate the lyricist said, Auntie Chu, I have been doing some research and I have discovered that griot is the etymology of the word griot means the one who lives in the master's house. So based on what he told me, we did further research and had conversations. And this is what I've learned, that the Djelis were taken, enslaved, put in the enslaver's house, and they worked for the enslaver. So the big difference between the Jeli and the griot is that the griot works for the corporation, works for the system, works for Babylon, and the Jeli works for the community. And the Jeli keeps the African spiritual practices within the work, whereas the griot may just be doing the song without connecting it to our ancestors, be telling the story. So the spirit element has been taken out. So it's purely entertainment, and maybe even educational. But the Jeli has to keep the spirit, has to keep the education, has to keep the moral, the point of the Jeli is to maintain the culture of their people so that it can continue into the future. Whereas the aim of the griot really is just to make as much money as they can and get lots of awards. So it's a slightly different.
I understand. It does seem to me to be a tough job, because if you don't have a good memory, that's pretty tough. How do you cope?
You know, I don't have a great memory, to be fair. However, our ancestors have structured stories in such a way that it makes it easier to remember. There's a form and a structure, there's a beginning, a middle and an end, and there's a way that the story is told so that it goes in and it stays there. And some people still don't have good memories when they hear the story, but that is what works for me. If you tell it to me in a story, I can remember it. I remember people's stories because there's the emotion, there's the logic, there's the data, there's the backstory, there's the present, there's the future. There's the whole picture. And my mind likes that. As a Jeli, we are both creative and scientific. And actually, in ancient times, it was one in the same.
Yes.
It wasn't creative over there, science over there. No, we worked as one. So it works from my mind. Storytelling works.
I understand. What you're saying is that it's not a linear approach. It's very much parallel, multi-parallel, and you're stimulated by different aspects of the story and how.
Yeah, I wouldn't say parallel though. I wouldn't use the word parallel.
Okay.
Because it's more, circular, cyclical. Yeah. So whatever angle you look at, 360 degrees,
you can see
as a part of the story that needs to unfold. It's not linear and it's not parallel. It's cyclical and circular.
I understand.
Spiral.
I understand. But in other words, multi-dimensional. In other words, you can see
Yes,
it's all happening at the
that's a
same
really
time,
good
but
way.
at different levels simultaneously. Therefore, you have to be very spiritual, huh? Very spiritual, in a heightened person.
Yes, no, you do. I mean, the thing is, I think that we're all born spiritual, but there's things that you need to activate. Like we're all born with the opportunity to be able to run a 9 minute, 9 second, 100 meter race. However, what did we do with our life? Did we train for it? Did we eat right? Did we practice? Did we live in the right environment? Are we breathing properly? Are we drinking good water? Are we eating good food? Do we have great relationships? Are we embodying all that we need to embody to be that person? And if you can't run 100 meters in 9 seconds, it's because you didn't practice it.
Yes.
So for me, I'm born just like everybody else with this spiritual thing inside of me. But there was this emphasis. My mother took me to my village when I was at 10.
Mm-hmm.
My mother took me to Wales. My mother took me to go and see the tulips of Amsterdam. My mother took me to the countryside. So as I was younger, I spent time in Mother Nature with my mother. And I think that made a difference. So now I've got older, I love being in nature. You ask anybody that knows me. I've spent, 6 months in the bush in Ghana. 5 months in the bush in Ghana, living in a tent, being
living off the food of the land,
eating food off the land, collecting water from the river, making fire every day, not turning on the gas cooker. I'm born in Birmingham, grew up in London. This seems to be a really important part of who I am.
Yes. And you're there in Ghana, living off the land.
And I'm loving it. I'm just really loving it because of the space that your mind has to think, to work things through. And I love nothing more than thinking. I love to think. It's, people go, what are you doing? You look like you're not doing anything. Oh no, I'm thinking. Because thinking takes up 80% of what needs to be done. And then 20% is action. But let me think about it, work it through. Because when you're telling a story or when you're creating a story, you have to work it through. And you have to embody all the different characters of the story and fit their characters and make sure they can express themselves within a particular format.
Yes.
That makes me happy.
You've painted such a detailed word picture. I can see it in my mind's eye, as it were. Beautifully said. You could tell you are a natural storyteller, teacher. Let me just continue. And as you said this, in many African cultures, storytelling is far more than entertainment. As you say, it is, of course, the social glue, the community's primary archive. Yeah, that's you, clearly. Because many historical traditions were oral, and this is what you're embedding so well, rather than written stories, serve as a living library. So you are the living library of a people. Are you able to share a historical event that the Jeli would share with the people? Let's say you're from Iboland. So what would you share if you had a group of mature persons my age and you wanted to convey a story that will be meaningful, that we would engage? Or indeed, you can choose to think of me when I was younger, much brighter. I'll let you choose. Just share with us just a few minutes a summary of a story that you believe would be impactful. No pressure, of course.
Okay. But before I do the story, I just want to say with regards to the oral traditions and the written traditions.
Yes.
So I got to a stage in my life where I questioned everything, and I would encourage everybody to question everything that they've been told. So one of the things I've questioned is, did we not have a written tradition? Are we just simply oral? But our oral tradition is almost as old. No, is about the same age as our creative, artistic tradition. So from the moment we spoke, we wrote something. If it was in the air, even with our gestures, if it was in the sand, if it was painted on the wall, we made marks. If there were symbols, that is writing. So I would say, yeah, we're an oral traditional community, but we're also written. We have a written tradition. Our written tradition starts with symbols and pictures, and our oral tradition starts with sound, not necessarily words. Yeah, and the whole tradition of telling stories is we are the temple. So we are our first temple. Out our mouths come sounds, and come the gestures and the symbols with which we tell our stories. And then we create proverbs, the proverbs in order to activate the story. So I just want to say that I question that we are just oral traditionalists.
Thank you.
So as a Jeli, I suppose it depends on the time that we're living in. So in this time, there's two stories that I would tell. From an Igbo perspective, I would tell the story of the Aba Women's Revolt. So was it 90? I'm not going to say a year. Please, that one you can Google. But the Aba women were summoned by some English guy telling them that they wanted to know how much they were earning, what they were selling, etc., etc. And the Aba women, who were Igbo women, but they come from Aba, they knew that this guy was just trying to find out how much they earn so he could tax them. And what we all know is that when somebody comes to tax you, that's their first step to enslavement. And the Aba women, the Igbo women, were not having it. And they said no. And they told their husbands, no, don't collect this information. No, 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 no. And they gathered together. There was one woman that came out on her own and she was standing up for herself, and she got assaulted. So all the Igbo women from all over Igbo land came and they marched on the English administration in Aba to say, no, we're not going to pay taxes. And it's called the Aba Women's Revolt. If you want to know more information, you can research the Aba Women's Revolt. This is an important story because it's an important story, especially in this time, because young women are under the impression that their sole reason for being is to serve men. That's not it. It's more than that. There is a partnership that's meant to happen between women and men. Now, in ancient Igbo culture, women are the law and men are the enforcers. In Western culture, men are the law and men are the enforcers. That can't work. It's not a good partnership. So that means I'm enslaved to you now because I don't have a role other than to back you up. Ancient Igbo culture, and I don't know about other cultures, women are the law, Mother Earth, law of the land, law of nature. That's feminine principle. And women, young girls need to know this. And young boys need to know this so that we can create constructive working partnerships. And telling them the story about the Aba Women's Revolt was it's a beginning to say, do you know what? I can make a difference. I can stand up. I can say no. I can stand alongside my men, or I can lead them. I make a ruling, and then I say to my man, listen, this is the ruling, because women are nurturers, and to be a nurturer, you need to be logical as well as emotional. You need to be scientific as well as creative, and the men, they need to support that because we give birth, both women and men. So we can't afford to have any grudges against any gender because all genders come from our womb. So we are the lawmakers and our men are the law enforcers. An example is mum tells the children what to do, mum's law. The children are not doing it. So you say, okay, you wait till your dad comes home. Dad will enforce mum's law and it will get done. And order, that's the order of things. So it's one of the reasons why I would tell that story. The other story I would tell, can I tell another story? The other one?
Can I, before you go to the other story, and just to help for the listeners here, I am familiar with this part of the history of Nigeria or Biafra land, and the Aba Women's Revolt was in 1929. Yeah,
I was going to say 24. Okay, good.
Yeah, it's okay. 29. And you're right. It was the British administration's plan to tax women. Yeah. and of course, my notes say that it clearly the focus around women, and you are right that the men stood alongside you. Yep, stood alongside you because together we are strong, and that's the key message.
Absolutely.
That key message come across. More than 25,000 women participated in this revolt.
25,000. Can you imagine? 25,000.
Hey, yeah, okay.
No internet, no Facebook, no Instagram, no phone. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. And my so I'm not a Jeli, of course, but I can recall some details, and the history of West Africa has been one of my great interests, you see. And this particular revolt is one that I focus on, very similar to a revolt in Adwa in Ethiopia, which is another time, another place. Okay, but in the case of this particular revolt, the places, and I might not pronounce the name purely, but I know people will have trouble. Forgive me if I mispronounce it. So Abia, Imo, Akwa
Abia State, Imo State.
Imo State, Akwa Ibom. I think you pronounce Akwa. Yeah, Aquabom. That's it, Aquabom. Thank you. River State and Cross River. Okay, are the main areas that I recall, and the last detail is that more 100 warrants were issued in against the chiefs across those areas. In other words, the British got tough and they were attacking people because they wanted the information. More than 50 women are recorded being killed, but clearly that is a gross understatement. Okay, because much of the sources I'm relying upon are sources here in Britain. Okay, I find it difficult to find similar sources in Nigeria, which is and if the audience have got sources that I could use, useful reference sources, please in the chat. Please put the details in the chat, and I will gladly go to those reference sources and study further. But this particular revolt is a significant result because it was focused around women, and women. Our women stood up strong. Our women were determined, and they never lost their femininity. What this demonstrated was incredible compassion. And indeed, that is why it is a notorious and a recorded revolt, because our women stood up proud. Well said, well said. And only a Jeli could deliver that information with the impact you just did. And as a result of your delivering, I'd forgotten all about it until I was reminded the manner in which you delivered that information stimulated. And that, I believe, is the gift of a Jeli, to stimulate recollection,
Man's got
inspiration.
lyrics. Man's got lyrics.
No, I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. Thank you. Give us your next story, because I'm now going to be. You see, my eyes are widening now. I'll be further stimulated by your utterances. Please tell us more.
Okay, so this story I know a bit better because it's more present, and it's the story that we are focused on for the In There Arble Storytelling Festival 2026. And it's the story of Kandaki and Manorenas. So Kandaki is a title.
Forgive me, before you begin, explain who they are, because remember, they're the majority of people.
That's what I was going to do. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay, forgive me, yes.
So Kandaki is a title, and it means divine, feminine, spiritual warrior, high priestess. Yes. And it's a title that women that came from Kush, certain women in Kush, were given at a very young age. And so their whole life, they trained to be a Kandaki. Yes. It's not something you decide when you leave school or college or university. It's not something you decide when you're in your 40s. It's already something that's been ordained for you. And so your whole life you're training about politics, communication, strategies, warfare strategies, spirituality, all of those things, so that you can take care of your community and honor the laws of Ma'at without war. But if you have to go to war, you're not afraid to fight.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yes.
I would rather do this peacefully, but if you push me, oh yeah, let's go. That's the energy of the Kandaki. Now, Amanarena, she was ruling around 30 BCE, before the Common Era, as they call it nowadays. Augustus was ruling Rome, and Patronus was ruling Egypt, because Egypt at that time was known as Roman Egypt, because it had been conquered by the Romans. And what the Romans love to do when they conquer places, they like to put up statues and busts and, figurines, just to look over you, to say, we run things, so that you know your place. You've been dominated by us. Anyway, Kandaki Manorenus, the leader of Kush, gets a message from Patronus saying that he's coming to collect taxes. You hear again about the taxes. This is a common theme throughout collect taxes.
Yes.
Kandaki Manorenus knows that if he's coming to collect taxes, he's coming to enslave her people, and she can't have that. Kandaki and the council all have a conversation, and the council, there would have been someone in the council that would have gone, but isn't it better to keep the peace? But Kandaki's stance is, no, I'd rather fight for justice. And someone else would have gone, but how can you have peace if you don't have justice? It's false. You're just bowing your head and you're enslaving yourself. But that's not peace when you are oppressed.
That's right.
So Kandaki's saying, if those Romans come into our land, they're going to take the best of who we are. They're going to run riot all over, and we will have no say. We will be enslaved, and I can't do that, because as a Kandaki, I have sworn an oath, and I'm going to honor that oath. And based on her oath, she gathered 6,000 of her warriors, and they marched up to Egypt. And as they marched along the borders, there's Elephantine, Philae, Cyrene. They saw the statues of the Romans, and they smashed them down. Smash, smash, smash. They got to Egypt, and they found the bust of Augustus. And Manorenus told her people, collect the bust, let's take it back to Kush. She took it back to Kush. She didn't put it in the palace as a piece of art. She buried it face down under the stone at the threshold of the temple, so that when anybody walked past over, they were trampling on the head of Rome. This is her spiritual act that guarantees she's going to win this war. So every time they walk over it, there's trampling on the head of Rome. They're praying in their temples above Rome. They have put themselves above Rome. Well, Patronus doesn't like it, so he sends an army down to come and attack, of course. This is her territory. She knows the desert. She knows the mountains. She knows the terrain. This puts her in a really good advantage. So when they're coming down, she finds out where they camp. She's slitting throats while they're sleeping at night, leaving one or two alive so they can go and tell the tale. When the dust from the sand gathers, she'll come, arrows flying, killing the Romans, and then she'll disappear. They don't know where she is. It's not their terrain. She has so many different strategies, and the thing is, the Romans are used to fighting people in a particular way, but they didn't understand her way of fighting, and so their mind was always blown. The Romans were winning. They had the biggest army in the world, and they were used to people caving out of fear. But Amanorenus was like, I'm not the one. So 5 years, the war ensued. She lost her husband, she lost her son, and she lost an eye. And what she used to do with her, she's dark. She'd be on a horse on the battlefield, her face covered. And then she would unveil her face so that people could see. And frightened all the Romans with her one eye and her dark skin, sitting on a horse, to unveil. And they thought that when they killed her son, that she would give up, but that just gave her more vim, revenge. Oh, you want to
Yes.
kill my offspring? You want to kill my husband? 5 years. Then Augustus of Rome said to Petronius, we can't continue with this war. I cannot justify this war. And she's making us look stupid, and she's sending fear through Rome. Because,
That's
she's
what
a
we
dark,
need.
melanin rich, highly favored high priestess warrior. And they had not come
Hmm.
across before. So Petronius comes out. The last thing that she does is she gets 5 arrows cast, 5 golden arrows. And she sends them to Petronius and says to him, this is a gift of friendship. However, should you choose to continue to fight with me, you are going to need these arrows. Well, that's
Absolutely.
when Petronius relayed that message to Augustus. Augustus says, you know what? Let's go and make peace with her. There's a whole other world that we can be dominating, but she's not the one. So Petronius comes down to Kush. They write a treaty on her terms. Everything she wants is put in the treaty. And she wants to keep the head of Petronius upside down, face down, in the sand at the temple as a spiritual reminder that we continue to trample on the head of Rome
Yes.
in case they forget themselves.
Whoa.
And that's how she won. She brought Rome to and Rome, who never give anybody anything, they gave her tribute. They gave her gold. They gave her riches and wealth. They gave her all that they felt that she asked for. And because she won the war, because oftentimes when people go to war, even if they win the war, they end up being destitute. But not Amanorenas. Amanorenas thrived. Her country, her kingdom thrived from winning the war with Rome. For 300 years, because of what she did and what she negotiated, her people flourished architecturally, socially, communication, arts, creativity, science, the skies, technology. They thrive. Food, farming, all kinds of systems to help improve. And everybody in the kingdom flourished for 300 years. That's a Manorena's female. The other thing I'd like to say about the Kandaki is that a man who rules in Kush at that time could only rule if his mother was a Kandaki, his sister was a Kandaki, or his wife was a Kandaki. He could not rule otherwise. And that was the system set up. She makes the laws, he enforces the law. That was their partnership. And it worked.
Yes.
It doesn't work. We don't work anymore. We have to ask ourselves why. Thank you.
Beautifully
Our
spoken.
story, and that's the reason I'm telling that story in there, Argle, for the next generation, because I just think it's a really powerful story. And she had the odds against her. The biggest army in the world, and she brought them to their knees. So it means to say we can do something. However powerless we think we are, we're not.
We're not powerless. That's for sure. I'm going to capture your narration, and I will play it frequently here on the Motivator Show. That was powerful. I focused on the Battle of Adwa, which indeed is a milestone experience. But this one, I can't say I had referenced it previously, so I'm going to study this one even further. But I'm going to keep your narration and remind people what you said here today. Thank you, Jeli. Thank you. I'm going to call you by your appropriate title. My gosh. And that's, of course, the role to inspire, to infuse. You know? You are a catalyst for change. Remind us of our greatness. If there's any doubt, the Jeli is there to remind us of our greatness. And that's what we need. We need more of you. I hope you've got a school set up teaching people how to be effective Jeli, to teach the message to the people, so that particularly people of African heritage, both in Europe, the Caribbean, and the Americas, who've been away from their source for not for 1 year, not even for a decade, not even for a century, but for centuries, for generations, who've been away from their source, need to hear and experience a Jeli, first hand. And once they've experienced you, they become inquisitive. And, just like, look, I've got a sweet tooth. It's like eating sweets. You want more of it. You want more of it. You want more. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. That's truly inspirational. Thank you. I'm clapping you, and I'm only a third away from the interview. Can you imagine? Oh, Lord. Wow. Thank you. Powerful communication skills. And that's what we need. And we'll overcome the propaganda that our people have been consistently exposed to, which takes away their energy, their confidence, their sense of self and purpose here on the earth. Thank you for that, because I'm feeling powerful now. I'm in your presence, and I've heard your words. Praise Jah. Oh gosh, okay. Let's ask another question of you, and this one slightly different, but I just want to get a sense from yourself. The Jeli, social and political advisors. I think you would agree. Yeah? You are the mediators and peacemakers, musicians. Yeah. So their storytelling is almost always accompanied by traditional instruments. Now you didn't have any instruments today, mind you, but that's okay. I might add the instrument in as a part of the accompaniment as you speak later. Okay. But just take it further. Most notably, the kora, the 21-string harp or lute, or the balafon, which is like the xylophone, or the nguni, like the lute. Do you know the lute? Yep. What can you tell us about the many roles assigned to a Jeli? You've described a few in respect of recording history, but is it right, as I describe it, that you are political advisors, mediators, peacemakers, musicians? Yeah? Is that all part of that a Jeli's profile, to be all those things and in one? God, no pressure, huh? Oh my gosh, no pressure. Tell us.
I think with the description of because they would in Western times call it a griot, there is a lot more needed in terms of political peacemaker, mediator, etc., etc. But some of the people that they referenced in history, in our story, as leaders, they come from a Jeli family, because the Jeli skills are what are leadership skills.
Yes.
So we weren't always working for the king or the chief. We were leaders. So that's the part that never gets talked about or mentioned. Our skills as leaders is to negotiate peace. So if you're coming, I don't know if you remember in The King and I, was it the King, where Solomon is the king, and a woman comes in, two women come in, and they're fighting over a baby. And one woman says, this is my baby, and the other woman says, it's my baby. And then the king, in his infinite wisdom, said, okay, what we'll do is we'll just cut the baby in half. You can have half, and you can have the other half. Now, the woman whose baby it was said, no, I don't want that to happen to my baby. You give her the baby. I'd rather you give her the baby. And the woman whose baby it wasn't said, oh, no, let's cut it in half and let's share it. And so the king was like, oh, okay, so it's not your baby. And he gave it to the woman that he gave it to the right woman, because mothers have a certain energy about their children. And why this woman wanted to steal this other woman's baby, maybe out of jealousy, that would come through by answering the question, how she responded to that. So that Solomon would have come from that kind of upbringing. an upbringing where he had to know stories, he had to be wise, he had to know the proverbs of the stories and use the proverbs of the stories in a way that he could always find peaceful solutions if possible.
Absolutely.
So the Jeli skills are used across the board, but you have Jelis also that are leaders. But you also have Jelis in communities. That family of Jelis know all the stories. So instead of going to your local library, and actually the local library doesn't even tell you the stories of the people that live in the area, you go to your Jeli family and they will tell you anything you wish to know about another family that is for public consumption. Because each family writes their own story and passes it on, and then the next generation will add to the story and pass it on. So every family has their story, and then the Jeli has everyone's story. That's powerful. And it isn't just when I was in Ghana, I know there's a local village, the local chief, he writes everything down. He writes down who buys land, who sold the land, how much it was, do you know what I mean, what the contribution was, who was going. He tells the whole story of the land buying. Therefore, that's why you want the chief, the paramount chief, to be in the room when you're negotiating about land, because he will write everything down. And when the papers are signed, you want him in the room because he will write everything down. And so your first port of call isn't the courts, it's the paramount chief. People will refer to the book because everything is written down. That's how it's recorded. And then everything is recorded in the atmosphere. You record it with your ancestors. You record it with the divine creators. You record it with the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets. You record it with the Mother Earth. You record it with the river. So that's what offerings are about as well. They're not just, I'm giving you an offering because I want you to give me many riches. I'm giving you an offering because I'm telling you a story and I need you to hold it, maintain it, so that we can call upon it at a later date. Because now it's as it's in my waters, it's in the rivers. And we can activate one another and activate each other's memory. So it's not, the Jeli isn't just a simple, those things there. They, like you say, the glue that holds a community together is quite a complicated glue with many 360 degrees of vision to ensure that when you make this decision you can see the implications on everybody concerned.
Yes. And do you use instruments when telling stories at any time as a background?
I use we didn't even talk about instruments. Instruments.
Okay.
Instruments have a frequency and a vibration, and certain instruments, they resonate with one another, and that is to heighten the storytelling. But we have stories at the basic level of I'm telling my children stories. We have stories at the level of we're telling the whole village the story, and then everybody gets involved. So we don't always have instruments, but we always have songs, and we always have rhythm. Our bodies are our first instrument. So we clap, we sing, we scat, as they call it in America. We use whatever we have, and we can hit something. We've got stones, we can knock them together. And the instruments are based on sounds come from nature. So I've got a kora, but I'm not very good at it. But I play it for meditation purposes. I don't.
You should have brought it. You should have brought it with you today. Oh God. It'd be wonderful.
Why? No, because I have not really. I don't feel that I would do it justice. And the kora it's a sacred instrument, and I think it deserves respect. And so I'm not somebody that does something for 5 minutes and then I'm going to teach it or show it. I've got to give it the reverence and the honor that it deserves, and I am not in the position to do that with the kora.
Fair enough. Okay. And thank you. You've given a very detailed on the multifaceted role of Jeli, and it is interesting how the communities are centered around key figures who act as a reference point for the entire community, someone who's able to speak about the community. And these are both men and women with those abilities. Okay. Are you in touch with other Djelis in across West Africa? Okay. And what do they say about their, I can use the term calling or profession, whichever term is appropriate. What do they say about it these days?
Well, the Djelis that I'm in touch with, because I'm in touch with some in Britain. I have a little WhatsApp group, and we've got storytellers and Djelis in the group, and people that refer to themselves as griots. And everybody in the group, and they come from West Africa to the Caribbean to Britain. And everybody in the group takes their work seriously. Like, they're very knowledgeable on what's going on politically. They can see what's going on with our community and what we need. They want to do something that connects them to our role. And it's very difficult in this setting because we don't have a community, a space where the village meets. Because the village needs a physical space in order for the spirit of the village to thrive, to dance, to move, to express itself. So all the Djelis and the storytellers and the griots that I speak to are really taking their role seriously. Yeah, we go into schools and we talk to children, we tell them stories, but we don't just go to entertain them. We go because we want them to understand something greater. We want them to have a particular viewpoint for the future. I tell stories to children, to young people, to prisoners, women prisoners, men prisoners, adults, families. And when we tell our stories, we tell them specifically because we want to give a vision for the future. We want to create a shared vision for the future. So as you can imagine, we have lots of conversations about what that shared vision would look like so that we can now express it and we can all share that and work towards it and put our little piece of the jigsaw puzzle into the vision that we want for our future. The vision of community, the vision of village, the vision of growing our own foods because we're getting poisoned, the vision of clean water, the vision of catching rainwater, the vision of clean air. We have all of those visions. And then it's the vision of how we will arrive there. How do we go from being a city dweller where everything is quite comfortable, but we're killing ourselves, to moving into reconnecting with the land, Mother Earth, and all the divine forces, and eating well and finding joy? How do we? What's that? So we're talking about those things. I mean, we're doing a lot of listening, and then sharing, and asking what steps do we take next, and supporting each other on that journey. We've just found a way of making it work in this setup, but it's not easy because we've got bills to pay, rent to pay, gas to pay, electric to pay. We've got clothes to buy because it's so cold. You can't just wear one wrapper and then wash it and done. You have to have plenty of different clothes. Then you've got to have a washing machine and you've got to have a cooker. So we've got expenses while we're trying to do this work. Yeah, it's tough. And then if we're asking for funding, nobody wants to fund self-love. Nobody wants to fund self-love. Nobody wants to fund anything that really means that we love who we are and where we've come from. They're about diversity and ticking a box, but it's not really about inspiring self-love in melanin-rich people. Because people don't understand, the outside community don't understand when we rise, we all rise. Our well-being is your well-being. It's for your benefit that you take care of us and you return to us that which is our due. So we talk about these things as Djelis.
I suspect, if I may say so, Jeli, that there is significant sympathy, empathy for your words, and that an appropriate call out to the community. You may be surprised of the love and affection that you've already stimulated, and the strong desire, therefore, to support you in your initiatives. Okay, and I will speak to you after our dialogue, and we'll see how people can reach out to you so that they can give. And indeed, the rest of the Djelis are here in the UK and beyond, where they need our support, that we can give them the support that you amply deserve. You are, without a shadow of a doubt, an important part of our future success. We will not succeed without you. Praise be.
Bless you, bless you, bless you.
Praise be. But I'm conscious as you describe the realities of contemporary life. Okay. We, of course, live in the 21st century. Literacy levels have risen since the time when the Djelis, well, just say 100 years ago, compared to 100 years ago, literacy levels has risen. All tradition, but if literacy levels have risen, we want to read more often. Okay? We have computers. Hey, we have computers. Yeah? We have access to memories. The entire human knowledge base is available for our computers. Now, will this technology, and I've got to ask this question, and I'm sorry to have to ask this question to you directly. Will this technology render the Jeli and those like you across the continent of Africa redundant? You'll be no more.
Well, it's a short answer, no, but I'm going to go into it a little bit. So, yeah, even though literacy levels have risen, what are we reading? Propaganda. Even though, we've got computers and all of that kind of stuff. That, remember, the last time we met, technology was just not working for us. It was so frustrating. What else has risen in that time? Alcoholism, depression, drug addiction, marriage breakups. All of that has also risen. And what makes a person well is communication, the human touch,
yes.
A hug,
yes,
a face-to-face smile,
yes,
a story told,
yes,
specifically for you, to let you know that I'm talking to you. I'm not just talking to a whole heap of people.
yes.
That shaking of the hand, that holding of the hand, the linking of the arm, the leaning on someone. The Jeli could never be redundant unless humanity is redundant. We are as important as humanity. When the computer, when technology fails, it is the Jeli's voice and the skills of the Jeli that will keep people going. And even today, people want to have that human connection. Mm-hmm. So we're never going to get to a place where we don't want to be connected to another human being, where we're happy just communicating via a screen. It's useful. It does help make things happen. Back in the day, we would have taken time to meet each other and have a face-to-face interview.
Yes.
So this means you're not traveling, we're doing it here. But it does mean we're at the mercy of technology. It does mean that we're not even feeling each other's vibes, but through the screen. But we're not feeling our aura, because, we have this aura. And in order to develop relationships, you need to connect with another person's aura. You can't say you're having a relationship with somebody on the phone or via the screen. You can communicate, but it's not a relationship. You understand what I'm saying? So telling stories, being a Jeli, mediating peace, humanity. See, Jelis need communities, and communities need Jelis. And we need a space where our spirit can sing and dance and express itself creatively, emotionally, scientifically, spiritually. We need that space in nature. We need that space next to Mother Earth, to the divine creator and all the natural spirits. That connection can only happen when you're in nature and we are together. If you want to do martial arts, you can learn the moves via the screen, but you can't really learn to defend yourself because you need another person there. If you want to learn how to kiss somebody, you can learn lip movement, but you can't actually kiss anybody through the screen.
I can't kiss you then. Okay, all right.
No, the technology could never. Technology could never, and technology has its time, and humanity is everlasting and continuing. We were here before technology. We are here during technology, and we should continue. In fact, we created technology, and we create technology to work in alignment with who we are. We should use it in alignment with who we are and what we are trying to achieve, and don't allow technology to take us off kilter, to bring us further mental health issues. And that's what it's been doing for a lot of people. It's been causing mental health issues. People have become isolated. They've got 2 million likes on Instagram, but they don't have no friends. Nobody's knocking on their door to bring them a little cake or a little apple or anything. Nobody's doing any of that. No one's giving them a gift. You can't do that for. Do you understand what I'm saying? So technology can't take the place of humanity, and therefore it cannot take the place of the Jeli, because we are one in the same.
Wow. Oh, I'm trying to think of a follow-up question, but no, that's a very emphatic response. It's clear, and your point is well made. It's well made. What I get from what you described with that tactile human touch, it can't be replaced by a machine. You know, the touch of your mother, you know, cannot be replaced by a machine. The touch and warmth of your father cannot be replaced by a machine. You know, the holding when you have a child for the very first time, you put that child in your arms. That can never be replaced by a machine. And whilst you're communicating using this device, I know that your voice, if I were in your presence, will be even more serene than the serenity you've stimulated through this device, because you would be truly magnified if we were together in that same space. Praise be. So you're right. That extra quality, the spirit that's in you, the machine does not have that spirit. You use the term aura, I use the term spirit. Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Oh my gosh, I'm stimulated here. And I've had many inspired guests here. There are very few who look. I'm always happy when I have my guests. Don't misunderstand. Oh, I've got to remember my guests now. But there are a few for which the smile and the absolute affirmation of each word is here in this particular dialogue. Yeah, I can now fully appreciate why the people of your skills, of your ascendancy, okay, are the cornerstone of African civilizations. Okay, absolutely. And the stories you've recited, I'm going to replay them back and remind people of your stories, okay? And I'm going to maybe encourage you to recite a few other stories another time so I can play them from time to time to remind us of what the Jeli has said. Okay? How you described using your own incredible skills to communicate with us. People of different levels, but yet you captivate our attention, hopefully. Oh, yeah. I tell you, anyway, there's so much more I could say, but let me.
You've got lyrics. I love your word sound. You're a smooth operator. Are you sure you're not Jeli?
I'm just the motivator. Hey, just the motivator.
But you're definitely motivated. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. And as we close, my typical questions to my guest. It's a simple one. What is your closing message to the people?
It's going to be something around fear and the way that fear controls our every move and where that fear comes from. Yeah. So my son and I, because I do night walks. I do these night walks. And when my son was younger, maybe six or seven, he used to come with me on the night walk. And he's been on a few of them. And he's not frightened. He's next to mum and he feels very confident. And we had people with us. A man cycled by on his bicycle. And as he cycled by, once he was in front of us, I could feel my son feel fear. And so then I started to feel fear. I was like, well, what's that about? And I said to my son, what's the matter? Are you afraid? And he said, yeah. I said, but why? What's going on? He said, I don't know. You know, even at 7, I don't know. And I was like, well, I didn't understand. So we walked in the wake of this cyclist. And the cyclist went, I think he went that way. And then we went this way. And as soon as we were out of the wake of the cyclist, the fear disappeared. It's like, oh. So were we walking in the wake of the cyclist's fear? And is that what's affected us? Is that what's made us afraid in this moment? Because sometimes you just don't know where the fear comes from. You don't know if it's yours or if it's somebody else's. So what I would ask people to do is really be conscious when fear rises in them, how it rises in them. And ask your ancestors, the divine creator, ask them to protect you, to guide you, and to forgive you. Because when we feel fear, it's because we've lost trust and faith in the ancestrals that are here specifically to look after us. Because if we felt faith in them, we trusted them totally, then we would never be fearful of anything. Because it'd be like, oh, well, they've got me. I'm fine. I can just keep walking. They've got me. They'll stop that bus if I walk out. They've got me. And when it's my time to go, it'll be my time to go. But that's not what we do. We're frightened of every little thing, even the things that are good for us. You know, like a woman who's suffering with domestic violence. She's too afraid to leave the man who's beating her because somebody told her it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't know. Well, why don't we just leave the devil alone and not know the devil at all and just really fight through the fear and know that we can come out the other side to do the things we came for, because we came for a purpose. We didn't come here to be frightened. We didn't come here to suffer. We didn't come here to have a bad time. We didn't come here to be slaves. So we're training. We must be training. We're going through all of this so that we can come out the other side elevated. So remember that. You're not here to suffer. So let's look at it as training so that we can come out the other side and be elevated. And we elevated to a position much higher than we were before we fell from grace. Because sometimes, you know, when you're training, you're learning a new skill, you forget everything and you become stupid for a little bit. And then when the new information gets into your head, then you bring the old information back. You're like, whoa, and you start to fly. So let's think of this as a training period. It's hard work. We're in pain, but we want to reach elevation. Please don't let fear run things, and be conscious of your fear so you can send her away, because you can send her away. I know, I'll just quickly say this. When I was in the bush, because at the beginning I said I was in the bush for 6 months. The first 6 months I was in the bush, I was with people for 2 months, and then I was abandoned. And I was in the bush for 4 months by myself. Me and my tent and the bamboo and the trees and the hills and the mountains and the flies and nature. And for 3 to 4 weeks, I was so nervous. And I kept saying to my ancestors, I'm sorry, I'm a city girl. I'm just getting used to this lifestyle. And I'd wake up in the morning and go, I'm alive, oh my God, I'm alive. And, you know, I was very dramatic. I was there by myself. And I could have gone to a hotel. But I bought this land and I wanted to get to know the land. And I wanted to elevate. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be fearless. And I couldn't be fearless if I went and stayed in a hotel, so I had to see it through. I think after maybe 4 weeks, there came a day where I was fearless. I was like, wow. And then you know what happened? I was worried that I was fearless. I got concerned about being fearless. I said to myself, what's your problem? You asked for fearlessness, you got fearlessness, and now you're worried about it. What's that? That's the programming. That's how deep it is. That's how much work we have got to do. So let's take our steps one at a time, because it's not going to happen overnight. You have to take your steps, work your way through your fear, and then take a next step. Work your way through the fear, then take a next step. Because the next time I went back to the bush by myself, I chose it. And when I wake up in the morning, it was more like, give thanks for the more relaxed, more easy, more. It was beautiful. And I kept thanking the ancestors that I hadn't got this fear anymore. I was like, wow. And nothing changed. The mountains are the same. The trees are the same. The bamboo's the same. The animals are the same. Everything is the same. What changed was me inside. What changes is your perception of the world and what you feel you are able to achieve. Remember Amanarenas. Small army against a big army. David, Goliath. We can do it. Thank you.
Well, please, John. Rastafari. Wow. Look, I might need a co-presenter. I don't mind putting it out there. Oh my gosh. That's powerful. Wow. I can only say to my viewers, you take this advice and it will put you in good stead, in a good foundation for life, you know? And it's never too late. I think that's the final piece of your message. It is never too late. I say again, it is never too late. Wow.
Never.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Truly an inspired dialogue we've had today. We look forward to you coming back to us and sharing with us the outcome of the festival.
In their Argyle Storytelling Festival, the 23rd to the 28th of July, 2026, going to Wales this year, Pembroke. Do go to the website, allthews.shanty-chi.com. You may, if you're around, you may want to come and be, the on-site journalist interviewing people for your podcast.
Ooh.
I don't, think about it, mull it over. You get me?
You never know. You never know. Anything is possible in this world, and I've found that as long as we are very conscious of what we want to achieve, and we're focused on it, it will happen. It will happen. I need to do my assessment, of course, in terms of diaries, but I welcome this encouragement. I believe there'll be other people of your caliber in the same place, which would make it a remarkable place to be. A remarkable place to be. And I'd like to be amongst remarkable people.
Very remarkable artists. We've got from Sierra Leone, from Jamaica, from Igbo land. Yeah, we've just got a whole array of artists on the flyer. We've got about 15, 16 artists. We've got young artists. We've got adult artists. We've got elders, who are there really to encourage us and inspire us to tell our story, written, orally, because self-expression is what's really important. When you're unable to say what you want and how you want it, it's very frustrating and it causes sickness because you're holding in. So this is a space where you come and just express. The drummers will make you dance, or you all drum. You'll be moving and letting it all.
I look forward to this. Thank you, Jeli. Thank you for the inspiration. For these few minutes, we'll get you back again. We definitely need to get you back again. But I have a feeling that the audience are hungry for more of your words. Thank you. Oh yes, hear those claps, huh? Hear those clapping. Oh yeah. What an outstanding human being, huh? What an outstanding human being. Oh, come on, give us hearts. Some hearts. Oh, yes. The Jeli is spoken. The Jeli is spoken. Let's hear more of her. Yes. More of it. More of it. She has spoken. She has spoken. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yes. The Jeli has spoken. The Jeli has spoken. Oh. More hearts. Yeah, I know. Yes, more hearts. Oh yeah. Oh, now wasn't that an outstanding dialogue? Okay. I'm going to put on the screen for you, for those of you watching this via your TV, and you might want the QR code. In fact, I'm going to put up on the screen right now, and this should help you to find the website. Let me put up on the screen. Here we go. Let me put up now for you. There we go. Put up on the screen. That's the QR code. If you use your phone, use the phone camera, focused on that, and it will take you directly to the website so you can book your space to attend the festival. Okay. It's got to be a worthwhile experience. Take the children. It's a whole family occasion. Take the children. The children most certainly will benefit. Let me put the screen up again. There you are. It's on the 23rd to the 28th of July. Okay. The website address, of course, is Shanti Chi, get that right. Chanty-chi.com. There it is on the screen. There you are. You've got the email address there, info@chanty-chi.com. There you are on the screen. Okay. In doubt, ask questions, contact her. She most welcome you reaching out to her. Most welcome you reaching out to her. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I've got to tell you, that was truly a enjoyable experience with her. Yes, and if we had been in the same space, the vibration would have resonated, most powerfully. Thank you, Jeli. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Example of why our history is not lost. Those family lines still are here with us, and they can provide detailed account of the true history of the continent of Africa and its peoples, the true history, not propaganda that we are often exposed to today. And as the African giant is awakening, and he most certainly is awakening, the presence of the Jeli will become more pronounced. This is what I predict. You will see them, and they're able to recite history going back thousands, tens of thousands of years. Oh, yeah. Wonderful, wonderful experience. And I have got to tell you, to each one of you, she is such a wonderful person to behold. I am assuring you. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. Yes. I admire her. Absolutely. I admire her. Absolutely. But nevertheless, it's a lesson for us all to recall, yeah? That in fact, these people exist and they are presence. And often you don't know who they are until they choose to reveal themselves. And that's what's been happening for a good few hundred years. They've been present but have not revealed themselves. The time for revealing has come. And it will be slow. And you've seen this is an example of one Jeli, okay? Attending that storytelling festival will be another example. But this is happening throughout the continent and the Caribbean, okay? I remember from the Caribbean, Miss Lou, okay? There you are, another Jeli, yeah? But we didn't call her that, you see. Listen to hip hop, listen to the wordsmith, to the poetry. Yeah? Yeah, Jelis, it's in our genes to do so. Well done, well done, well done, well done. And together we will transform the world. This has been quite a long podcast. This interview will be reorganized into a podcast series, okay? And you'll be in each of the episodes will be have the accompanying information, so you, the children, and those around you can learn together our history, your history, your history. And that is the empowerment process, because reparations begins with self. You making that conscious decision to further empower yourself with the real knowledge, the true knowledge. Yeah. I'll give a big thumbs up to the people of Burkina Faso and their inspired leader, the land of the upright people. Oh, yeah. Trigger, catalyst for change. Trigger, catalyst for change. They're appearing right across the world. Catalyst for change. Together, we'll transform the world. Positively, I might add, not selfishly. Positively. Thank you. Thanks for each one of you who have supported the channel. And if you haven't subscribed, it would be a great help to us if you did subscribe. Of course, send links out to your family and friends, your wider network. Spread the words. Tell the YouTube algorithm to recommend these episodes of The Motivator Show to the bit so subscribers to YouTube. It's free to subscribe, I might add. Yeah. And together we'll change the world for the better. For the better. Oh, right. It only leaves me now to say that, of course, with each of these episodes, okay, I know we leave you feeling on high, but do not despair between now and the next episode, okay? Remember, make those conscious decisions. Remember the lifestyle messages? Make those conscious decisions for you, for your family, for your loved ones, for those you respect. Make those conscious decisions. And till the next time, I remain the motivator.
Take